So I haven't set any of this up, obviously. I'm going to source through like I would any other day. And what I usually do, people always ask me like, what are the perfect parameters to set up? And I don't have any, right? I just literally set them up how I want. Obviously, I get a little bit better at it here and there depending on my goals. But, you know, I literally just sort them randomly every single time I hop on the software, and I have an extra 10 to 20 minutes to source, because clearly I want to constantly be putting in different numbers, so I'm getting different looks of different books that I can potentially make money from. So I'm going to go through these levers each individually on why I sort them that way. And then, like I said, you want to play around with them because you don't want to see the same books that I'm seeing. We might end up purchasing the same book, and that's totally fine. One thing I will say, whether you're sending, little caveat here, whether you're sending in bulk arbitrage stuff, or you're sending in books or wholesale or whatever, if you're on a listing, and these listings will be competitive, the books ones, but so will the bulk deal, so will the wholesale, anything like that. Guys, match the buy box price. Don't be an idiot, okay? Don't drop your price a cent below the buy box. Don't be an idiot and drop your price 10 cents below the buy box. I used to teach that with coupon arbitrage, but that was because you were trying to make the sale quickly and you were only competing with one other seller that wasn't expecting somebody else to be on their listing. The people on these book listings and the people on the wholesale listings and the people on the bulk deal listings are going to have repricing software most of the time. A few of them at least will, if not all of them, okay? And let's say that 2 or 3 of them have repricing software and you drop your price a cent below the buy box, it's just going to set off a repricing war to the bottom, and then you lose, I lose, and they lose, and we all lose. The only one that wins is the customer. So why would you drop the price trying to get the buy box when it's just going to set off a race to the bottom pricing? Key thing here, match the buy box and be patient. Everyone wins and everyone sells at that high price, okay? Got off on a tangent, but I see people doing that a lot, and it really annoys me. Not so much because of the money, although obviously I want to make the money, just because people don't understand that, yeah, you're just trying to be greedy, but really it's going to backfire on everyone, okay? So here we go. I'm going to set the minimum publish date to about 2012. I usually go above, 2010-ish, which is about a decade ago. And that's because you want relevant books. You don't want older books. Same thing with the max trade-in value. So I'm going to go like $1 here. Just so there's a trade-in value, you can put in anything there really, but you want a trade-in value because that's going to indicate that it's not an old version of a textbook and that obviously there's still some value there. Because if it's an old version of a textbook, chances are there's going to be no demand for it, right? So this doesn't just source textbooks, it does source other books as well, but the majority of it, what you're going to be sourcing with this software is textbooks, okay? So I'm going to make sure that there's at least a minimum trade-in value. Now, I don't ever touch the max dues offers, I don't ever touch the max new offers lever, I leave them there. Max rank and max average rank, I'm going to set that to like the minimum, or the maximum, we'll say like 150. Now, what I like to do, I'll do it 2 ways, but the main way that I do it is I'll set these really, really high, right? So I'll set these really, really low, So maybe if you even wanted to go like 89,000, right? And that's going to give you great textbooks because it has low rank and high sales velocity, right? So it's maximum 89,000 rank bestseller rank, okay? That means it's selling very, very well, especially because textbooks, have a high sales velocity already, or books in general. But if you're not getting, and I'll show you this here in a second because we're going to go really, really low. So we'll go like 89,000, which I don't usually go that low, but you can. And if it doesn't spit you out a good amount of books potentially, then you can always broaden it out. So start specific and then go a little bit broader. That's how I like to approach it, okay? So max use price, let's go. We're going to try to sort for some new textbooks so I can show you an example of, potentially good ROIs. So we'll go to like 40. We'll go minimum, let's go 39. 38, why not? $38 minimum Amazon price and minimum new price, okay? Now the max price we're going to set to like, let's go $14. Boom. And we'll start sourcing and see what pops up. Now, as you can see here, no matching records, right? Because this is very, very specific. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise this to 20, and we're going to go 120 here, and we'll go a little bit broader and see if it pops up stuff. This is exactly why I wanted to show that to you, right? So now we have this, and now we're going to search through it again. And it's finally going to pop up some stuff here. So here, the gray ones are ones that I've already sorted through, and that's one of the reasons I love this software. Now, it's going to show you that you've already clicked this book. It's also going to show you when it highlights it in green, that's the one that you're currently clicked on. It's going to give you a lot of data here, so the average rank that it is over its listing, the rank in general. Another way that you're going to be able to judge books very, very well is using a Keepa chart. So the green ones here that aren't gray are the ones that I have not checked yet. Now, if you're looking for time, I usually go down literally just one at a time. So this one, then this one, then this one, and check them all. I usually do this when I'm, late at night or, really early in the morning when I'm kind of doing other stuff and I have a little extra time on my hands, I don't ever sit down for like an hour or two and just source textbooks. This is stuff that I'm doing, you know, on the side when I have a little bit of extra time. But if you are strapped for time and you really need to sort textbooks, generally speaking, the best ones that you're going to find, and this is not always the case, but if you're looking for a little hack, the discrepancy in the new price right here and the used price, the higher the difference, okay? The higher the difference, generally speaking, the better potential ROI for a new textbook. Okay, that's not always the case. It's just generally speaking. So here, let me show you what I mean by that. So I have this option, that's green. 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 And I have these options down here. So these are 57 minus 14, decent ROI potential. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's what the ROI is. It's just an indicator, right? So what's the best one that I can sort through and check, right? Probably this one right here. So the 79 minus 1189. So that's like, you know, whatever that ROI is, or the 84 minus 13. So let's check these two first, and we'll see if we can find a good one. So what did I tell you before, right? The first two things that I look for are, can I buy it used and sell it used? Because the benefit of buying it used and selling it used is you don't have to front like 30 or 40 bucks on a textbook or multiple textbooks. You can only, sometimes you're spending like 5 to 20 bucks potentially, and you're making like 5 to 20 back. So it's a little bit less capital intensive if you don't have a lot of money to spend, right? So what I usually do is I'll click that green, I'll click the link, right? And then you'll see it highlights it green, and this goes gray. So this is the one that I'm currently clicked on, and obviously it's showing me that I've already clicked it. And then I'll click this and click Bookfinder. Now what Bookfinder is going to help you source through new books. Now I don't want to show you that yet because I want to focus on one thing at a time. But those are the two things I click. I'll click the link and I'll click the Bookfinder. Boom. Now we're popped up with these. Now I'll right click on the book because that's going to take me to the listing page where it's going to show me the used buy box and the new buy box, right? So I need to find out with this software, is there a merchant price that's you know, has a good ROI where I can ship it into FBA and sell it on the new used buy box and make a profit margin? Or can I source it on another site and ship it into FBA and make a profit margin on the new buy box, right? So there's two ways to make money. So first we're going to go back to that because if you click on the link, it's going to take you directly to all the used offers. So the first one's a rental, clearly. That's not what we're after. The next one is used acceptable. But if you add all these up, and I just like to kind of, you know, overestimate, I like to be a little conservative with these. So I'm going to add 950 plus 81. We're going to round that up. We're going to round that up. So we're going to say $4, $5 plus 950. So what is that? It's 1450, right? So there's really no, if I'm going to pull this software up, and sometimes it doesn't work with the books, and it doesn't seem to be working right now. Usually works on a lot of listings, but for whatever reason, it doesn't work on a lot of the book listings. That's perfectly fine. We can just pull up the FBA revenue calculator. So I already know that this isn't going to be profitable, but I just want to run you through and show you. So I want to come down and take the ISBN. I don't know why I scrolled all the way down, but I did. So I'm going to take the ISBN right here, and I'm going to paste it into the FBA calculator. You can literally just Google Amazon FBA calculator, and this will pop up. So now I'm going to put this in the FBA side, right? I always estimate that it's going to ship me $1 or cost me $1 to ship into Amazon. Although because I ship a bunch of things in at once, it never usually costs me $1. It costs me a little bit less than that. Sometimes it's 20 cents, sometimes it's 50 cents. Sometimes it is $1, but rarely is it over $1. Rarely is it $1, okay? So the cost of the product we said was $14.50, right? And what the item price is currently in Amazon, the buy box price that I can potentially sell it for is $20.40. So there's probably not a good profit margin here. It's probably even going to lose money, and it's going to tell me that I'm going to lose $5.25. So obviously that's a bad idea. So there is no opportunity to buy this used, ship it into Amazon, and sell it on the used buy box for a profit. Now, is there an opportunity to buy this new? So 105.80, I'm already going to look at this and tell you that there's not an opportunity because it's not that big of a discrepancy. Sometimes you're going to see like, okay, this sells it for 105 and there's an opportunity to source it here for like 30 or 40 or 50. And then obviously that's something you want to put in the FBA calculator and check to see if there's a margin there because the discrepancy is a lot bigger, right? So obviously if it was selling for 30 here, then you could buy it for 30 and then you'd potentially make a good profit margin, right? But there is no opportunity here. Now, another thing you want to be careful with is buying from worldwide. So you want to buy from somewhere in the U.S. So whether that's Abe's Books, eBay, even though this is UK, you don't want to buy from UK. So there is no opportunity to buy this for a new price on another US-based site. And you also want to keep in mind when you're sourcing new textbooks, like I said in the intro, make sure that you're not buying instructor's editions and make sure that you're not buying the international edition, okay? 2 things there. So let's go pick another one, and we'll try to sort through a few more fast and see if we can find a good example. Because people always tell me, hey, I can't find anything, and it blows my mind because I literally hop on and I find stuff all the time, and it's not very hard, right? I'm not saying that this business model is easy, because nothing's easy, right? You need to be able to spend the money, you need to be able to source the books, and you need to be patient, but they will sell, and you will make your money back, okay? So let's check if there's an opportunity for this right here. Another thing that I forgot to tell you is if there is an opportunity, always make sure that you can sell it. Textbooks aren't gated, so it's not a gated category, although Amazon has started gating some of the higher ranked textbooks. So always, just with any product, make sure that you can sell it, okay? So the used buy box price is the first thing we're going to check, $32. Is there an opportunity? This is a rental? No. Used acceptable? Probably a decent opportunity here, right? So we're going to round these up. So that's 4, another buck, that's 5, 13. So $13 is what you potentially source this from. Same thing as this one, 13 right here. This one's a little bit over 13 or 14. So there's a good opportunity to buy this relatively cheap from all these merchant fulfilled sellers right here. Boom. Use acceptable, good. So what you can do is potentially buy this for $13 roughly. Maybe it's $13.50 or $14 if you buy all 3 of these and average them out. That's exactly what I do. So I'll add all these to my cart, and then I'll divide them by the cart by 3, and that's exactly what I'm going to tell myself I source each book for, okay? So we're going to go off that first one. So $13.50, can we ship it into Amazon and sell it used, get the buy box at $32 and make a profit margin? Will this AMZ Scout calculator work? It will not. So what we need to do is we need to go down and we need to check the ISBN to see if there's a profit margin. So we'll take it back into the FBA calculator, paste it in there, boom. So the item price was 32, I believe. 32. We sourced it for, I think, 13, I said, and shipping to Amazon we're going to estimate as a buck. So this is a great example of a used book that you could buy. Now, sometimes if you're going to buy it for 13, your margin might be 10 or 13, right? And then that's practically 100% ROI. This is about a little bit under a 50% ROI, so maybe like a 45% ROI. So pretty solid, because you're spending $13, you're going to make $6.11 back for every time you ship this in at $13 and sell it for $32. Great example of a product that you can buy used from a merchant fulfilled seller. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to add all 3 of these to my cart too. I'm going to actually leave this up because I want to buy this at the end. But that's a perfect example of a book that you can buy for $13, maybe $13.50 if you add all 3 of these, and then average them out, and then ship them into Amazon and list them for $32 on the used buy box. Boom, you just made a good profit margin, right? So you just turned $13 3 times into whatever it sold for, 30, maybe 28 after Amazon fees or something like that. Okay, so now let's see if there's an opportunity to buy this new. 76 is the new buy box, so let's see. Can we source it anywhere close to that? No. So 74, 75. Another way that you can source used books is on the right over here, although I rarely do that. So let's find another example of a good product. I'm going to leave this one up because I'm going to buy all 3 of these potentially after this video, unless I find some good other examples. So here's a great one right here, right? 133.15. So let's see if this is a good one. We're going to click the link. We're also going to come back, click the bookfinder. Oh, damn. I guess I'm going to have to go back and find that one afterward. So we're going to right click on this and we're going to see, okay, the cheapest we can source this, it's not a rental. Keep in mind, you don't want to rent them. So used acceptable is, we're going to round this up. So 4, 5, 16. So 16, the used buy box is 44. That's another opportunity to potentially make money, right? So let's run the numbers. Again, on the last one too, you want to make sure that you can sell that as used. So take it into Seller Central, add a product, put the ISBN in there, and make sure that you can sell it, okay? Ship to Amazon is going to be a buck. I think we said it was 16. I don't remember. 5, yeah, 16. What's the new or the used buy box? Used buy box is 44.64. 44.64. Now, if you wanted to be conservative, often I'll round down to 44, right? So we're going to source it for 16. We're going to say it's going to cost us a buck to ship it into Amazon. We're going to round down, assuming that maybe the buy box price drops a little bit, and we're going to calculate what our potential profit margin. Great example of another product. So you're only spending $16 to get this. You're going to make $12.92 profit because you're going to sell it at 44, and after the Amazon fees of $8.40, you're going to net $12.92 profit, obviously plus 16, right? So you're going to turn your 16 into 16 plus $12.92. Does that make sense? I hope so. Another great example of a buy right here where you can make money off of, and there might even be other opportunities, although this one's a little bit closer. This one's like 22, 23. So I would just buy this one probably. There's a great profit margin there. There's still a profit margin to be made on this one, but not nearly as high. So I'm probably going to look into that one too. I'm going to have to remember these because we're going to go through these fast. So now we want to click this again. I didn't mean to X out that. So what can we source this for cheaply, right? So here's a great example, potentially $75. Is there an opportunity to buy it from there and sell it back online for a profit? So 139, not that great of potential profit margin. So it's not worth it necessarily, in my opinion, to spend 75 to potentially make like 10 or 12 or 20 bucks after fees. You can, and I do it from time to time if I have some money to play with and I'm like, you know what, I have a grand or two to throw at books. Sometimes I'll do that and just get that extra little ROI, but often I'm looking for a better one. So let me show you for that what I mean by that before I get off on a tangent. First thing, let's assume that I could source this and it was a good profit margin and I wasn't worried about it. The first thing that I would want to do is read through all of this and see if there's international or instructor in here, right? Because that's going to be the international or the instructor edition. Also, make sure, I've made this mistake before on eBay as well and other sites, make sure you're not buying an ebook. Some people will literally put this in here like a book and then they'll have like it end up being an ebook. Make sure you're not buying an ebook. If it doesn't say anything about ebook, check the condition. And make sure that it is format paperback or format hardcover, so that you're not buying an ebook, okay? I have seen people do that before, and I've been a victim of that as well, and it is annoying, and it's kind of a sleazy thing, but obviously that person won't be selling on eBay very long. Okay, so let's pretend that this was a potential good profit margin, right? So there's two things. I don't know what it is on Mac, but I'm going to Control F on PC, and I'm going to literally type in international and see if the international, here's an example right here. So this is an international edition. While you still can't make money off this, if you could, you still wouldn't want to buy that. So I don't see any international pop up here. There's no highlighting of international, and I don't see any instructor edition highlighting there either. So this is a good potential book to buy, but I also want to make sure that it doesn't pop up on this in like maybe they hit it in the specs down here. Although typically speaking, you're going to see it smack you in the face. It's going to literally say instructor edition, or it's going to say that in the specs or the description down here. And this clearly says 4th edition right here in the title. So if it ended up being the instructor edition and it has 4th edition in the picture too, you could obviously return that and eBay would give you your money back because they advertised the book wrong and it was inaccurate description, okay? So this is not an international or instructor's edition. It's a good potential buy, although the margin isn't that great, right? So what I'd want to do is I'd want to add this to my cart, and I'd want to see what the shipping cost was. And I'm not going to do that because I don't want to show you my address, but I would want to potentially add this to my cart. Let's assume that it has free shipping, okay? And sometimes they do, often they do, but sometimes you might get dinged for like a $3 or $4 shipping on a book because they're shipping it media mail. So then it might make your cost like 77 or 80 or something like that. But let's assume no shipping cost and it's free shipping. So $74.99. Let's see what the potential profit margin for this book would be. ISBN, take it into FBA calculator because I don't think that the FBA calculator is going to work on this listing, and it won't. So I don't think I did put that in. So ship to Amazon's $1. Our cost is 75. We'll round up for that cent. Buy box price is $139, so we'll round down. Take that 64 cents off, so $139. So what's the potential margin there? Well, actually, that's not a bad margin. I was miscalculated. So this is something that I would potentially go after. Because while you're spending $75, which is decently high for most people on one potential product, you're almost getting double your money back. That's literally, yeah, it's almost double your money back on that book. So you're turning 75 into, whatever that ends up being, 110, right? So 75 into 110, maybe taking that 75 into 110, that's like a 50% ROI in maybe a month or two it sells, depending on what the sales velocity of this book would be. You are not going to find an ROI like that in the stock market in that kind of that short of a time period. Consistently, at least. You're not going to find an ROI like that in the real estate market, consistently at least. So this is one of the best ways that you can do this. And look, 32,000 in books. So this is selling very, very fast. And for whatever reason, my Jungle Scout Chrome extension hasn't been working on the books either. I think it's something with like my Google Chrome or something like that. Usually they work. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's been finicky. But regardless, obviously 32,000 in books is very, very low. That's selling very, very well. And if you shipped it in and matched the new buy box price, then obviously you'd potentially make that margin. So that is another great example of a book. Not the best, because sometimes you can honestly double your money, if not more. So sometimes you're going to find a book here that's like $35 or $40, and you can ship it in and match the buy box price at like $150 and make like $100 on that book. So I have seen that quite often. Doesn't happen all the time, but you have seen them quite often. But this is another great example of a book that you can buy $75 on eBay. There's no international or mention of instructor edition. Ship it into Amazon and make a profit. So let's go through one more. I'll try to find another good example for you really fast. So let's do this M management one. It looks like it's decent potential ROI here. Difference is the indicator I'm looking for. So I skipped a bunch of them, obviously, which I would go back and check because that doesn't always, it's not like a set in stone thing. It's just a potential indicator. So I'm going to click the link, right? And come back and click the bookfinder. Let's go through the used buy box price first. What's the cheapest I could potentially source it? So used good, I could potentially source this for 4, 5, we'll round this up to 12. So 17 is the potential roughly that I could potentially source this for. 17, and the used buy box price is obviously that first one, so that's not a good opportunity to buy it used from a merchant fulfilled seller. Ship it back into the used buy box and make money. So we can't do that. That's off the table. Let's look at the new buy box price. The new buy box price is $98.48. What's the potential to source this? Well, here's a great example of one that you don't want to do, right? So we're going to probably end on this one because it's a good example. So while the last one I showed you was a great example of one that you could buy and make $35 profit on relatively quickly because it sold quickly, this is one that looks good right off the bat because you're going to buy it and potentially, or you're going to buy it for $34 roughly, and you potentially ship it into Amazon and sell it for $98. So the margin there is going to clearly be good, right? Maybe double your money if not more. But right here, warning, instructor's copy. So international instructor's copy. Not something you want to do, okay? Instructor's copy, not something you want to do. Instructor's copy, not something you want to do. So now we're going to continually go down. So ISBN here, new, hardback, AC not included with the ISBN. So no access code or supplemental. So that could be an issue too. You also want to make sure that it doesn't not say like not access code, although it is listed as new. So here we go right here. Here's a potential one right here, 48, 80, or 70. I'd have to look in more of this one. 70 is not going to be low enough to make a margin on this because it's selling for $98. But maybe this one would be. I'd have to look into this. Maybe I'd mesh as the potential seller. So if this is new, and there is no image on this, but let's assume that it is. So I would look into this more. So 48.80, is there a potential opportunity to make a good margin there? So what do we want to do? And obviously, guys, before you buy it, always make sure that you can sell it. I know I said that before, but I want to hit that home. So take the ISBN into Seller Central, go to Inventory, add a product, and literally paste that in to see if you're able to list it in that condition, okay? So we're going to take the ISBN into the FBA calculator, and we're going to see if there's an opportunity to sell it. I'm going to round down. The item price is $98. It's going to cost me $1 to ship it in, and I believe it was $49 to source because I'm going to round up. So conservative numbers here. Let's see what the potential profit margin is. So there we go. That's a potentially good opportunity to buy this for $49, ship it into Amazon, and make $26, $21 on my money, okay? So I'm literally turning $49 into maybe like, whatever that ends up being, 65 roughly, or 75, excuse me. So turning 49 into 75. How fast would that happen? Not as fast as the last one because this one's $137,000, so it might take a month or two to sell if you're matching the buy box price, but still relatively quickly. You're not going to find a good margin on that, and this is exactly how you multiply your money, guys. It's not a hack. It's not a trick. It's a legitimate business. You can source these books just like they're products, right? I don't look at these as textbooks or books. I look at them as another product that happens to be a book. You source them, whether you're sourcing them used and shipping them in and getting the used buy box, or sourcing them new, shipping them in and getting the new buy box. There's opportunities, a ridiculous amount of opportunities here to buy these books with the eFlip software. It's literally spoon feeding you them. Look, you have X amount of other pages to potentially sort through. You could also go a little bit broader and sort through other ones, move some of the levers down and check out different potential looks of different books. Check this software out. I'm telling you, it's phenomenal.